Seja muito bem-vindo à Ideias em Estante. Hoje vamos lhe falar de uma recente obra editada chamada Governação Inteligente para o século XXI. Connosco temos um dos coautores, Nicolas Berggruen. Nicolas, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And my first question is, how can we have intelligence governance in the world?
Well, the idea of the Institute and also the idea of the book is that governance matters. The way we are governed is key. Intelligent governance just means that intelligence is about adaptability, about understanding the environment and changing and progressing. So the Western liberal model has been extraordinarily successful for Portugal and the countries around here for the last 200 years. The world has changed. It's much more competitive today. We have competition mostly from the East, but also, frankly, from some of your former colonies, as an example. And the model that's been so successful here for us needs to today adapt in a competitive global world. So what has the values that have been the values of the West don't need to be given up or sacrificed, but we probably should learn from other societies that have been successful. And the book, on purpose, says that some societies in the East have shown the ability, for example, in a place like Singapore or China, not saying that those are perfect models, but aspects of what they've done is something that we can learn from. Their ability to make long-term decisions, long-term investments, and the ability to work as a society as a whole in a very decisive way is something that in an environment where we need to make decisions and make changes is something that we can learn from.
So execution in somehow is the key word.
Execution, the ability to translate power of the government to government being effective. Government, at the end of the day, is a service provider. Government has to provide services to people, best services possible at a reasonable cost. So execution in terms of the quality of the services, but also the ability of government to make long-term and difficult decisions and investments is also key. In a highly populist political environment, which is what the West is about today, it is actually more and more difficult. So the West will have to come up with an environment where it empowers its leadership to actually, whoever's elected, to make decisions and to carry out the execution of the will of the people.
How do you see the role of the state in an economy? And you, as an investor, do you prefer economies where the government has power, or a government that is not so deep inside the economic features of the economy?
Well, at the end of the day, it's a question of balance, and it's also a question of culture. There is no one formula for every place. Government is key in any society. A society is an association of humans. For society to work, you need a system, and the system is really what the government is responsible for at the end. And in Western societies, the government is responsible for key elements that make a society function. That's education, healthcare, social services, security. So that part of the economy is key. The question is the government the best one at doing everything? And if the government, as it is in Europe in general, is taking half the economic share of the country, even though these services are key, half may be too much. And if you have half of all these services that are in the hands of, in essence, a monopolist, which is what the government is, you have the danger that you don't have enough dynamism, reforms, innovation. So it probably is healthy that the government becomes a smaller share of the economy, of the economic pie of society, by really involving the private sector in a lot of these services, so that government becomes probably more efficient, more innovative, and the private sector, at the end of the day, will create the growth. Government will participate in the growth, but generally will not lead the growth. So the shift in the economic pie from government to the private sector is probably healthy.
And we can say that, and being aware of the Portuguese situation, right now as an investor, you are more confident in Portugal than you were, for instance, 1.5 years ago?
Well, Portugal, in the past for good, today probably for bad, is a member of the European Union. Portugal has benefited enormously, but today the European Union is a political construct that's not finished. Part of the work that we do as the Institute is to work on the political construction of Europe. And the political construct of Europe, if it's going to be finished, will force changes everywhere. Portugal is in the middle of these changes. They're extraordinarily difficult, but Portugal has been, I think, more than other countries, very, very courageous in terms of making reforms, making sacrifices, making investments. More is to come, and I know that it's very, very difficult, but the results will be there because humans are very adaptable. Portugal, with all its challenges today, is a rich society, fundamentally. So it's rich because it has tremendous human capital that's educated. Taking the human capital and adapting it, retraining people, which is painful and difficult, will make Portugal more competitive. Portugal, as an economic actor in the world and in Europe, has to be more engaged, and it will become more competitive after this period of transition. So today, Portugal, even though short term it looks difficult, longer term is probably, for an investor, the right place to look.
And are you thinking about investing more in Portugal? You already are here through Prisa and through Laia. Are you thinking about investing more in this country?
Definitely. I think that if there's a time to look at investments in Portugal, it probably is now.
And in which sectors, can you say?
Well, in Portugal, I've been very lucky because I've had a partnership for years with Miguel País do Amaral. So a lot of what he's doing, I will look at. We have had experience in media, in publishing, and we will continue to look at those areas. I think services, including technology, will be interesting. Tourism is an area where Portugal could develop a lot more, and that includes at the end also real estate, not necessarily as development but as redevelopment.
And you speaking about Laia now, the books industry. Why did you decide to invest in this area?
Well,
in this sector.
Again, I think a number of different. This is quite a personal thing, but I had a very good experience with the partnership with Miguel País do Amaral, and as he thought that we should do something in the publishing business similar to what we did together in media, I immediately said yes. It so happens that the publishing business had a number of different properties that could come together in a consolidation. So economically, that seemed interesting. It so happens, and this is one of the strengths of Portugal, it so happens that Portuguese language is a global language. And some of the places that used to be Portugal in Africa, like Angola, like Mozambique, obviously across the Atlantic in Brazil, those places are thriving. And it shows, by the way, the entrepreneurship of the Portuguese. If you're just as entrepreneurial at home as you are abroad, I think it will be to great benefits to Portugal. That's the parentheses. But going back to Leia, the idea is that if we can do certain things here in Portugal, we can do the same in Mozambique, same in Angola, same in Brazil. And that's what we are doing actually with Leia. So Leia is an economic actor here, but also in those other countries, growing very rapidly. In addition, as much as I believe in media as being beyond just a business, it's really a cultural good at the end and a societal good. I feel the same way about books. Books, including textbooks, which is education, books are really our intellectual capital, our culture, and supporting education, supporting culture and ideas is really what makes us progress and us special as humans.
Media groups, are you thinking about investing more? Having said that, are you thinking about investing more in media?
I'm already invested indirectly through PRISA, and PRISA obviously has
But are you considering to invest more?
Well, Media Capital is going to transform and grow, so this will be the way to do it.
Through Media Capital.
It wouldn't be fair and right to do it outside.
Very well. Now speaking about you, you are known to be the homeless milionaire. All international newspapers speak also about you, saying that how it is to live without a house.
Well, in my case, it's a choice, so it's very comfortable. So I prefer it, more flexibility, more freedom.
And where do you put your books, your personal stuff?
Well, most things, that's the other thing that's special about human beings. You can store most things in your mind. So, and in today's world, you can store a lot of things electronically. So you have access to so much. So in my case, I need less of the physical world, and I'm not that interested in possessions from a personal standpoint. I think it's very healthy, and it's only human to want to have things and accumulate things. So I think that's a healthy instinct. In my case, maybe that instinct is weak. The idea of experiences and the idea of enabling things is more interesting than possessing them. It's just a personal thing.
And you don't have this necessity of arriving home, to have your place. You travel all over. You don't have that feeling of, oh, I'm at home. No, you don't feel that necessity?
I feel that home is wherever I am, and the excitement is the excitement of the challenges of tomorrow. The idea of rest, very important, but the idea of rest is maybe not my focus. And when I'm in Portugal, let's say here in Lisbon, I feel very at home. So it's a great place. The people are interesting. The opportunities are there. Culturally, it's vibrant. So what else can I ask for? I don't need it every day. Not every day the same. I'm lucky enough so that I can, make choices and go on. But I also have the benefit of being able to benefit from it when I'm here. So why, make it exclusive?
And just to finish, if you were part of the Portuguese government, or if someone will call you to give an advice, what it will be?
Well, that's unfair. I think I'm no one to give advice. I think that two things. I think what the government is doing in terms of reforms or pushing Portugal to become a more competitive actor in the world economy. You can criticize some of these steps and say certain policies are correct or not, but the direction and the idea of having to make changes and sacrifices, I think, is correct. I think any government from any party would have to do this to make sure Portugal is as vibrant tomorrow as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. So I think that's very important. I think that's good. The other is to make sure that the private sector is allowed to be as entrepreneurial as possible and to encourage innovations, new businesses, investments. I think those are what is going to create, the upturn. Frankly, Portugal is also a country, like in Europe, everywhere, of shrinking population, needs to be addressed. That will have to be addressed all through technology, or through, frankly, working longer, or by allowing immigration. A country cannot afford the same standard of living if it doesn't grow in terms of productivity or in terms of population.
Thank you so much, Nicolas, for being here with us, sharing your knowledge and also your book. Muito obrigada também por nos ter acompanhado. Infelizmente chegámos ao limite do nosso tempo. Estaremos de volta na próxima semana com mais e pertinentes ideias em instante. Até lá, tenha uma boa semana.